Hello, fellow crafters. I'm Tiffany, and I'm your host today on Crafts on the Dark Side. Welcome to episode 2. I'm really excited to be doing another podcast. I'm excited that I had some subscribers, so those of you that have subscribed, thank you. It's really nice to have some people joining in the community, joining in the discussion, and I look forward to quite a few more podcasts. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm broadcasting today to you from just outside of Detroit, Michigan, so those of you that aren't in the area, it's pretty chilly out here. It's the beginning of October, so my favorite time of year. Fall's here, but it's starting to finally get kind of cold outside and chilly up here in Michigan. So today, what's in my cup? Of course, we're going to be talking about wine and beer and that stuff on the podcast because I like to drink. So today I'm drinking my absolute favorite wine ever. Little sweet for some people's taste, but I think it's a really good balance between sweet and dry. And it is the Leland Cellars Great Lakes Red. It's a semi-sweet red table wine. They are actually a local, as you can tell, Michigan, a local winery, and I just love everything that they make pretty much. And this is, like I said, just kind of my go-to. It's cheap, it's really good, and it's local, so drinking it today. And if you ever get the chance to try it, I highly recommend you do. It's usually what I take to parties and stuff if I'm not sure what people will like, because it's such a good balance that pretty much everybody ends up liking it. So yay. So okay, I decided after the last podcast that I was, like I mentioned in the first one, I'm really trying to make this kind of more of a community, get some discussions going, get some friendships built, that sort of thing. So I ended up going on to a couple crafty type groups that I'm on Facebook that I love, and I kind of put it out there. I asked everybody, why do you craft? What draws you to it? What do you love about it? That sort of thing. And I got so many replies. It was crazy. I was really excited by how many discussions were started between people and all the different replies I got. So I thought I'd kind of talk about those real fast before I get jumping into my crafts. So by far the biggest answer I got was mental health sort of things. I got the expression, crafting is cheaper than therapy, quite a bit. A lot of people mentioned specifically anxiety and depression, that this can really help with those, kind of pulling people through that sort of stuff, giving them something to focus on. People mentioned ADD and OCD quite a bit as this being a way to work through some of that as well. Using it as like a meditation sort of tool to help with mental health, which I definitely see, just that repetitive motion, especially with fiber type crafts, that knitting and the cross stitching. It's just over and over and over, and it can really get kind of surreal sometimes, kind of meditative when you kind of get into that zone. So I get that. And on the same kind of mental health thing, a lot of people mentioned it as being something they can control when everything else is crazy in life and you got all this other stuff going on, that your crafts are something from beginning to end, you control. You pick out what you're going to do, you buy the supplies for it, you do all the prep work for it, you do it beginning to end, and the result is yours. So that was a big one. But like I said, by far, I'd say 95% probably mentioned it was a mental health sort of thing. A lot of people did mention to keep their hands busy. I mean, I guess that kind of can go with the ADHD and that sort of thing, but they specifically mentioned it as during TV time, something to keep their hands busy. Again, a lot with the fibercraft people, but to be able to sit and watch TV and at the end of it have something out of it instead of just wasting your time. I get that. I'm the same way. I will fall asleep if I'm watching TV and I don't have something to do with my hands. I just pass out. So it's my way to stay awake while I'm watching TV. I heard a lot to not kill someone, whether it be your husband or just people or your kids or whatever, but to keep you out of jail. I got that too. And then kind of one of my favorite ones was it being kind of a connection, whether that be a direct connection to a relative, maybe mom or grandma or somebody taught, and this was their way to kind of relate to them. But I did hear it too as like more of a cosmic connection, a connection to ancestors and just humankind, which I really love that concept, It's just something, fibercrafts especially, is something that we've done for generations, for most of human history. And it's really kind of cool just to tap into that aspect of it. A few people mentioned it religiously, especially when it comes to like kind of the Norse or northern type gods, Freya in particular. I am pagan, if you didn't know, and some of the people that I interact with are on like pagan sort of communities, especially there's pagan craft communities. But in specific, they mentioned Freya being the goddess of, she clothed her family and all that. She was the one that brought forth that fiber craft, so that was kind of a cool connection too. It was a fun discussion. If anybody that is watching this wants to comment on that or have something to say about that topic, please do. I think I'm going to talk next time about how you got into crafting in the first place and how you felt about it. I'm going to be asking that in some of the groups and discussing it. So if you want to be part of that kind of conversation next time, jump in, throw in a comment or two and let me know what you think, how you got into it. Did you like it at first? What kept you with it? Okay. To end this section, I stumbled across a really pretty quote. It was actually on a I think it's a group, I guess their page. It's called The Woven Road. And they put a quote up that I really liked. I ended up screenshotting it because it was with a really pretty picture. But when we engage in fiber arts, we are creating something, but we're also participating in historic tradition tens of thousands of years old. You're not only making art for your soul and for your future generations, you are embodying the work of our ancestors. So yeah, keep that in mind, you knitters and cross stitches and stuff out there. We're tapping into a pretty crazy thread of our humanity. So, I don't know. I really enjoyed that. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and jump into my finished items now, or finished objects. So, here we go. Okay, so F.O.s, let's talk about my finished objects. So I am going to show a few different crafts. I'm going to show you a couple drawings that I did. I'm going to show you some shrinky side stuff, and then I'll talk about some of my knitting that I completed. So real fast, I'm going to show you a couple drawings that I did not too long ago. Within the last year or two, they've all been done, and they're just kind of fun. If you didn't watch the first one, I mentioned in that podcast that my drawings are one thing I don't tend to show to a whole lot of people. My other crafts I'll show off. I mean, they're a little out there, they're a little weird, but not quite as odd as my drawings or get as many weird looks as my drawings do. So if you don't like them, sorry, but I guess just don't watch if you don't. So first one, this is actually a character that's my fiance asked me to draw. He's doing a comic book, and he asked me to illustrate a couple characters. So here's one of them. I think she's kind of fun. She was just kind of a quick sketch. It's like a post-Armageddon sort of comic. If any of you are Chaos comic fans, you might enjoy that belt buckle there. So a little fun. This one I did just kind of a sketch sort of thing one night, but she came out really cool, and I really kind of like her. I was really into rope drawing for a minute, just kind of the textures and the way they pull on each other, and she was just kind of like a study in that, but I liked how her bruising came out, and I loved the hair. I actually had that haircut at the time, so it was kind of fun to put it in drawing form. The last one I'm going to show you, I did kind of a line of pictures that they're something. There's gore, and then I did sickness and a couple others. I did review the YouTube policies, and nudity is not allowed, and I don't want to push it and get in trouble, so I did cover the one nipple that she had showing. And I can't really show you any more of the line because they all have some nudity, but anyway, keep in mind I'm a medical, as a professional, and I just really love anatomy, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm weird, whatever. But this is gore. She was originally done as a black and white and red. That was the red was the only color, the red blood, and she really kind of popped. I ended up deciding to color just because it sounded fun. Again, her nipples covered, but I was just really enjoying getting some of the textures and the viscera and the organs down and bone. I don't know. I really had fun drawing her. It was kind of a fun study of anatomy. So I don't know. Hopefully you like her. If not, oh well. So next thing I will talk about is the shrinky dinks that I've been doing. So I know they're kind of a kid sort of thing, but I've been having fun with them. This was the first one I did. I didn't really know what was going to happen with it when I cut it, so the edges didn't come out quite like I like. Just trying to get some light behind it. There it Maybe I'll switch. There we go. It's kind of popping a little more. Goodness, it's not having luck today. There we go. That's kind of popping a little bit. No, I had it working before. There we go. So there's one of the dragonflies. They really catch the sun. Very, very pretty. The next one I was working on was tarot cards. I was having so much fun with these. If you don't know, I am a pagan and I love tarot cards and that sort of stuff, and I collect them. So I decided to do an actual line with these. I actually did the devil and the star. Isn't that cool? They came out little bitty little tiny tarot cards. I don't know quite yet what I'm going to do with them yet. Maybe some sort of jewelry or a keychain or something. I might do more. I'm kind of bummed. The star on this one is a really strong metallic gold, and it just doesn't translate on screen. The last ones I'll show you, I was doing plant stakes, which are really fun with the way the sun catches them. This one was just kind of doodling, honestly. Again, they're not really representing the color quite truly. These ones, though, I had a lot of fun with because I was actually doing the type of plant it was. So there's oregano and there's rosemary, and I actually drew them on and did some different backgrounds. But aren't those cool? I was really excited with how they came out. So for, you know, herb gardens and whatnot, I'm going to do a bunch of them. They just go right on the plants. They're really, just again, really kind of cool. I was really happy with how they ended up coming out. So those were fun. The other finished items I'm going to talk about are my knitting stuff. So, first of all, I mentioned in my last one that I was working on some gloves, and I finished them. I actually ended up making 3 of them because the first one I didn't like how it came out. So this was my first item for myself that I've ever knitted. The only other finished item I've ever done was the scarf that I did for my fiance. So this was the first item I've done for myself, and look how freaking cute those are. They came out really well. These were off a free Ravelry design that I'm a total jerk and didn't link it or anything. I actually just did a screenshot because it was such a easy, it was only like 6 lines. I feel bad because I didn't even like write the name down. But I'm sure if you go on Ravelry and look up, you know, free fingerless gloves, you'll find them pretty quickly. So this is how they came out. They came out super, super cute, and they were so easy and very quick. I did do very slight alterations. I made it from 33 to 35 cast on because the 33 was just a little snug on that first one. And I added a line of just straighten it between where the pattern changes, because this one, I don't know, it just kind of blurred a little bit. I didn't think it stood out as much, so. But that's it. They were super easy, super quick, and I think I'll make some more. The other finished item that I have, I'm super excited about. Oh, by the way, these were just a Lion brand yarn, honestly. Nothing crazy. And the Hartland brand by Lion brand. And the colorway is Great Smoky Mountains. I really loved it because it's got some like white and black that kind of pops, as well as the 2 different colors of gray. And I just really liked how that kind of, it reflected really pretty. And yeah, dug them. Alright, so the next item, this was the first thing I actually went out like looking for a really cool color that I just like wanted to do something with the color. These are like all my favorite colors in this. This right here is honestly my absolute favorite color ever, that kind of dark teal. But these all are like right up there. They're all these watery hues. They're so pretty. I loved it. I mean, it's just a cheap acrylic yarn, but I still fell in love with it. And I found this really fun pattern on Ravelry, and I made it. And look at this. Is it just not adorable? I'm so excited. I just finished it last night. But look at that. It's so cute. So this was on Ravelry. It's a free pattern. It's called Ski Bunny, and it's by Drops Design. It was pretty super easy, I'd say. It wasn't The easiest, I did have to look up a few things. This is actually the first time I've ever done an increase and decrease. I decided that each project I'm doing for a while, I'm going to learn a new skill until I know enough, a new stitch or something like that. So this was increasing and decreasing, learned how to do it. Very easy to do, nothing hard, but obviously you had to do it to get the shape. So, is my hair? Okay. So I increased 1, 2, 3 times on this, and I think I did pretty good. You can't really tell where they are very much. I do need to block it. I'm going to block it so just to get that little kind of kink out where it increases. I think that will block out pretty easy. But look how that came out. I love the small side because I love how the color pools when it's this width. The next thing I'm going to make, I think I might keep this width because I just love how the colors pool with those kind of stripes. Obviously you lose that. It's still pretty, but you lose that blocking. And it's nothing hard. I did slightly alter the pattern. It did not call for any sort of edge. It was just, the normal edging. So I added in, I'm not even sure what it's technically called, but it's where you drop the last stitch. You just leave the yarn on the last stitch and then knit back into it on the way up. So it pulls this really pretty, smooth, nice edge. Don't focus on me, focus on you. The only other thing I did, honestly, I did 3 increases. The pattern called for, I think, 5. And that's really wide by the 3rd. So I don't think I misread it. It was literally having you double each purl when you increased. That would have been massive. Like, this was already pretty big. Actually, as much as it sucks, I think I'm actually going to give this away. I have obviously very short hair. And I think this was more designed for someone, and I'm tiny, I'm like 90 pounds. I think this was designed for somebody with maybe a bigger head or somebody that has a lot of hair. If you could see when I put it on, I kind of end up with this like loose back here. If I had my hair in a ponytail or a bun, it would be perfect. But I think I'm going to do another one for myself and maybe only increase like 2 out of the 4 when I do my final increase, something like that, just to keep it a little bit smaller. And I think I'm going to give this away, which would be my first like giving away item. I think I'm going to give it to my friend Janine, who was in my wedding 16 years ago, and is actually moving to the northern peninsula of Michigan out into like the country. She's got this house with like 40 acres, so I think it'll be a good gift for her to take with her and to have a piece of me with her when she's up there. But regardless, I'm super happy with how it came out. Like I said, the Ski Bunny headband, I did it in just an Impeccable brand worsted weight yarn. It is acrylic, which I'm going to mention here in a second. And the colorway is luxury. And like I said, I just loved it. I loved all how they came together. This was a fun one. People kept asking me. I did a lot in bars, if I haven't mentioned that. My fancy does trivia. He hosts trivia, and it's a couple-hour thing, and when I get to go with him, I'll just kind of sit back and we chat, but a lot of the time I'm just back there knitting at the bar, and people will come up and, hey, what you making? This was definitely a something to talk about. People enjoyed it, so yay, my first headpiece, and I think next I'm going to attempt a hat. I do have a couple pairs of gloves I'm going to whip out for some people that they asked me to, because those gloves took like an hour or two. They were very quick. So yeah, that's my finished object. So before I moved into my UFOs, I real fast just want to talk about yarn snobs. So I've learned some fun terminology as I've been learning about fiber crafts. Polycraftual and the bistitchual. Those are fun, but I've heard a lot about yarn snobs. I've heard people mention not being able to use Craftster yarn and da-da-da. And I just have to say, I get it. I haven't even been to a good yard store yet, and that's all I want to do. I have not a ton of yarn, some. I had a friend come over and bring me some. It's all stuff you could buy at, Michael's. Even if it's a little higher end, it's still stuff you can buy from a craft store. And I already, even only being a couple items in as being, a new knitter, I want some good yarn. That's my birthday's in November, and that's all I've asked for is to go to a yarn store. The closest yarn store here, there are a few, but they're all about 40 to 45 minutes away, which right now with my schedule is just very hard to fit in. But I get it. I really get it. I cannot wait to get some real, nice yarn to make some stuff with. Yeah. So all you yarn snobs out there, you keep being yarn snobs. There's a reason why we like our good stuff, and I can't wait to be right there with you. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and move into UFOs. Let's talk about those unfinished items. So moving on to UFOs, or unfinished objects. I've got a few right now. I actually don't have a knitting one because I literally finished my headband last night. So I am probably going to cast on today a new thing. I'm not sure what, but it will be in my next one. You're good to see that. But I have been working on some cross stitching. That's really about it right now. I kind of finished up some stuff. So the cross stitching stuff I'm working on, first is one I haven't even started. But I went through some frames the other day. I was looking for a frame for my next item, and I stumbled across this little guy. And what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to show off my daughter. She's now 9, but when I took these, or when she got these taken, she was 1. Tell me that that's not like the cutest freaking baby. Look at that. Look at that face. She's adorable. She is, well, she's even older now, but that was her last year. Quite the change, right? Crazy. Anyway, I found this app that lets me take any picture and turn it into a cross-stitch pattern. That's going to be trouble for me, let me tell you. So I found these adorable little faces. There's a Dracula, a werewolf, and a, is it a mummy? Oh, a Frankenstein. Werewolf, Dracula, and a Frankenstein. And they're kind of cartoony, but they're fairly simple, and they're so adorable. And I'm going to do the 3 of them. Or Halloween's coming, so it's my Christmas. It's time to do some kind of spooky, kind of cute stuff. So that I'm going to try to whip out here soon. But you can probably expect to see that in process next time that I do something. And this is the one that I've been kind of working on for a minute. Look at my little freak flag. Isn't that adorable? I'm just about done. I will say I did find this as kind of a pattern online. It wasn't anything hard. I did make a few changes. I added the grass, which wasn't part of the original cross stitch, and now I'm doing a rainbow around it. I've already done the red and the orange, as you can see. I still have the rest of the rainbow to do. So we got blue, yellow, green, purple. So as soon as that's done, as soon as I finish this bordering, it's going to go in this cute little square frame that I have had for freaking ever and have never been able to use it because it's square. Like, what goes in a square frame, right? So, that you should see hopefully completed next time. I'll probably have that done another day or two. It's just some color squares. So, we'll get done with that. We'll get something else cast on, and I think that's, oh, my doll head. I almost forgot about my doll head. So I mentioned last time that I had the flower, and this was the doll head I had mentioned. I'm only showing it to you. I haven't technically even started really on it because I just think it'd be kind of cool to see what it looks like when it's done, and it's probably going to be like a one-sitting type craft. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this. My fiance did see it and asked me what I was doing, and then asked if he could get a doll head too. I don't know what he's thinking, but I might end up giving this to him and looking for another one. However, I have a couple types of eyes that I think are gonna fit like freaking perfectly in this doll. So I might do something cool with some of these eyes. I don't know quite yet, but I think she'll be cool. It is a bottle mouth, so we'll have to kind of work around that. But stay tuned. Like I said, it's going to end up as a flower pot is the end game. That's going to be on the top. But we'll do something cool on her face. So that's going to be coming. And then I also have a clay tree. I showed you guys this little guy last time, which has gotten even more broken now thanks to my children. But I did some clay work the other day. And gosh darn it, I just broke this one too. Worked on this one. She's not complete yet. This one's got a little hole in the trunk, if you can kind of see, and it's got the crystals around the bottom here, as well as on the top. Shine some light onto this. Does that help a little bit? So crystals on the top and bottom, and I don't know, it's kind of a thicker trunk version than the last one. I do think I'm going to add some more leaf, some more foliage. It kind of has that like fat body feel, and I want it to be a little bit more full. So not quite a complete one. It is baked already, but I'm going to do something more up here with the crystals. But so that's coming too. Maybe some more after that. But So I think that's about all I have today. This wasn't a huge one. I just realized I did the last one and I had, some people subscribe already and it say that they wanted some more, and so I figured I'd at least hop on and get some of this done. It has been a very, very crazy 2 months for me. August and September were probably the 2 busiest months I've had in years. So I didn't get a ton of crafting time in, but hopefully I'll get some more now, especially now the holidays are coming up. You'll probably get to see some holiday stuff I'm working on. It'll probably be a lot of knitting stuff because I'm so into that right now. So stay tuned. Like I said, if you want to join in on the conversation regarding how we got into knitting and how we felt about it then as opposed to now, please feel free to go ahead and comment, and I'll discuss that on the next podcast. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a wonderful Halloween, since I doubt I'll be back on before then. Hopefully you get some good crafts in. Halloween always inspires the hell out of me. I get to go and pretty much look for house decorating items during the Halloween season, so that will be kind of fun as always. I'll also get to do some face painting. If I didn't mention in podcast number 1, I face paint as well. I just kind of got into it. It's something that I'm really excited to start doing almost on a professional level. And I actually think I'm going to have my first gig on the 27th of this month. So yay to me. I'll let you know how that goes and hopefully have some pictures, because that's kind of a craft too, right? But I would love to also hear from you guys on Ravelry. I've made some new friends on there in the last, couple weeks. So look for me on Ravelry as TiffyTaffy444. Look for me on Craftster if you're on there, or Craftster rather, as TiffyTaffy. If you're on Tumbler, you can find me as Crafty Little Bitch. But other than that, hopefully I'll see you here. Feel free to subscribe. If you've got your own podcast, let me know. I'd love to subscribe to yours as well. But otherwise, have a great, great day and happy crafting. Bye.